evening and welcome. We appreciate you coming tonight. Cork Genealogical Society are 20 years. Tonight, 20 years ago, it was on a Tuesday night, and I see some of the faces are still here. We're going to make a little presentation to people who have, most of them have been members of the society and have been a great help to us down through the years. We're going to present them with a little certificate and a little gift, a badge or whatever you want to call it. Now, Declan Chambers is the president of the society. He's the man with Wendy Quirk, was there right there, and we started off as the Cork Family History Society. And like everything in Ireland, the next thing is the split, but we didn't split, but we had to change our name for various reasons that any of the members can tell you later on. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little presentation to Jim Hurley, who was the county librarian, the great help to us down through the years. Sorry, Tim Cadigan. Sorry, I'm looking at Jim Hurley. Sorry, apologies, Tim. Tim Cadigan was a great supporter of ours down through the years and it was a great help to us. Margaret Jordan, who's a member and is still going and is involved in the O'Shea DNA project. So if anybody wants to know anything about DNA, Margaret is the lady to ask. Jean Prendergast is here. Jean was the secretary at one stage and she did a lot of work and she now does a lot of the files or whatever you want to call it for the Western Front Association. Am I right? Yeah. We also we're going to present to Roberto Dwyer, who's from West Cork, with a presentation. And with your attention, last but not least. And anybody that will know anything about genealogy in Cork will know that Richard has recorded most of the cemeteries for the past 40, 50 or 60 years or whatever, and he has records of headstones that people can't read anymore, well he has them all, and he has had produced several books also. We're going to present the little gifts. We will then have tea, coffee and sandwiches for anybody that travelled, and if there's a bit of music then if people want to stay around. There's no bar up here, unfortunately. For some people, it might be fortunate for other people. So if people want to drink, they have to go to the hotel. Tomorrow, we will be downstairs for the conference, which is from about 9:20 until 4 or 5:30. So I'll ask Declan now, who's the president of the society, to say a few words. Before we do that, there's one little thing we want to do. I'll just get it here now. As I said, well, 20 years ago when it started, Declan was with Wendy Quirk, and it was their idea to start the Genealogical Society. So we'd like to present Wendy with just a little bouquet of flowers and a little gift for all the work she has done through the Family History Centre down through the years. So I'll ask Olive maybe to come up and present her with this. I'll hand you over now to the president of the society, Declan Chambers. Thank you.
I wasn't expecting this at all. Just to give you a little quick rundown on how it all started. I'm kind of half a Scotsman. My father was a Scotsman. So I was doing a lot of genealogy at the time in relation to my father. When I came to the Irish, I found that there was no help whatsoever in Cork. There was no club, no society, no nothing. So I decided to do something about it, and I asked around, but I could find nothing at all, nothing at all. So I typed out, believe it or not, I still have the typewriter, typed out a little message on an A4 sheet of paper, put it into all the libraries, all the shops, as many as I could, and hoped and waited and see what would happen. And literally 50 people turned up on the first night in Moore's Hotel, which is now gone, by the way. So that was a long, long, long time ago. And there are quite a number of people here tonight who were not here on that first night. So we started off, there was very little genealogy being done at the time. And one of the most impressive people that I came across in all that time was Tim Cadigan. I used to go up to the county hall, county library. Tim was always there, and he literally had a photographic memory. He was absolutely brilliant. He could tell you where any book in the library was. He could tell you any place in County Cork was. No problem. Where the name came from, no problem. He was absolutely brilliant. So I would really like to thank Tim particularly tonight for all that he's doing. The certificates that we're presenting tonight to a number of people have been created by Tony McCarthy, who's here on the top table. And it is absolutely, I was fascinated by it. Because the outward ribbon is made in a DNA string in the Irish colours. So we're all DNA, all Irish. The red one has an imprint of the, I don't know how you pronounce, is it Agan or Om? Om. The Om, what you see on the Om stone. So, and that represents the red and white of Cork, which is very nice as well. And the type is done in the form that UCC is used. It's also a little part of it is in Latin. So it all comes together in relation to genealogy. Anything to do with genealogy is created in this, and it's really, really beautiful. Now, I'm not going to say an awful lot more, except that maybe we'll start with presenting. And the first person can you come up, Tim? We're also presenting each person with a copy similar to this here on the President's badge. Very, very similar, but in gold form for them as well. We're really trying to recognize the incredible input that all these persons that we're presenting with. We're trying to recognize what they have done for genealogy in Cork, because they were absolutely outstanding. So, first of all, I present a certificate then. So for the valuable, very valuable service that you've given to us all down the years. Not just what you've done yourself, but also the ideas that you have given to us, which are all absolutely extremely helpful and inspiring. the badge as well of the society, if you'd like to open it. I'd like to show it to the cameras there as well. It's really a very beautiful badge. By the way, all these badges, they were also made in Cork. Everything is kept in Cork, the great city that we are. The next person is Richard. Richard has given a tremendous amount of labour, I could nearly say hard labour, to genealogy, because he went around all the cemeteries in Cork, barring 20, and he transcribed all the stones in all the cemeteries in County Cork, city and county. And I think he also published a book on, was it Klein? Yeah. Would you like to say a few words, Richard?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you know who I am. I'm not so quite sure who I know myself who I am. Not on an occasion like this. Anyway, to get back to the issue of the graveyards, I might as well say that over the years, beginning in when I was 1958, and from that until my 70th year, I recorded 120,000 inscriptions in 620 of the 640 recognised graveyards in County Cork. Now, that material is available for people who wish to get in contact with me within the normal business hours, of course, not the small hours of the morning, to say that which you get a call from America or someplace like that. But the fact of the matter is that when you come to the end of a lifetime like that, it is, I think, a great recognition to think that some society recognises the work you have done without you making any effort to contact that society. That the society recognises within its own jurisdictions that there are outsiders, and I'm not a member of the society here. So the reward in a case like that is more than the ordinary reward, when you realise that it is done by people who are aware of your existence without you ever making them aware of your existence. So in that respect, I would like to say as well that over the years, a little birdie used to say to me that if I lived long enough, the Cork Genealogical Society would honour me in the end. And that is the only reason that I have lived on to reach my 86th year. Now, if I die next week, or next year, or the year after, all of you will recognise and say to yourselves, ah well, he was one fella who died happy anyway. Because the Cork Genealogical Society recognised and honoured him in the end. And they did. And for that, I am truly grateful.
Reward. I think Reporter Dwyer has been doing genealogy a long, long time, long before computers, long before anybody else was doing it. And he deserves a great amount of credit, especially for the area of Skibbereen and Bear. And Bear. So I'd like to present you with this reward. It's and also this, okay? Would you like to say a few words?
I'll tell you a small little story. You see, the one said, Hannamore and Dion, there was this old man. He was a very old man and he wasn't too good at all at English, and he was very, very deaf. And anyhow, somebody made a match for him. And the day of the wedding, anyhow, he arrived up to the altar. And the priest said to him, will you take this woman to be your lawful wife? And your man said, huh? And the clerk anyway says to Johnny Wilson, say, I do. I do. So the priest said, will you take this woman to be your lawful wife, to have and to hold? I will say, Johnny, to have and to hold, to have a good hold. From this day fortnight, said the priest, to this day fortnight, says Johnny, I won't say any more. These lads down there in Bearer, we have one them down there, Tygo Sullivan, a great friend of mine. He came all the ways down from Galnish. And I would like to say thank you to all for a good night, I hope. Thank you very much.
Jean here? Jean Prendergast? Oh yeah. Jean has been doing tremendous work since she joined this society. And really a lot of her work is hidden. She's doing it very, very quietly. Lots of people don't know about it, but she's doing it quietly, and we are all appreciating what she is doing. Thank you, Jean. All for you. You see, it's very similar to this, but I have to give this up in 2 years' time. Keep that one. Okay. Last but not least, we have Margaret Jordan. And Margaret has been doing a tremendous amount of work, particularly with the Heritage Society of Ballincollig, and also on the internet, where she has been in contact with loads and loads of people in relation to the records that are held in by the cathedral. They're held in the County Hall Library. We're trying to get them published on the internet. And she's been doing a tremendous amount of work in that area. And a lot of other areas as well. So I'd like to present you, Margaret, with our certificate, okay? I don't know what's coming next. and it's all up to our chairman. Just say a few words in relation to our chairperson, Eddie Wallace, because since Eddie took over the helm, as it were, he has done tremendous work. And I think if anybody should be given a scroll tonight, it should be Eddie. He has, I just can't compare him to anybody. I mean, I was the first the first chairperson of the society, and the amount of work I did was that much in comparison to what Eddie has produced. His work rate is unbelievable, incredible, and it's almost as if his head is just bubbling over with ideas and expressing, coming out with the committee and so on. It's just absolutely fantastic. That's all I can say. Another person who hasn't been mentioned at all, or very little anyway, is Tony here. Tony McCarthy was one of the elders of the society, starting off. Not in older, elder. And he had tremendous input. I remember when we brought a whole bunch of Australians to Cork. He was the man in charge of all that, and really brought them around and showed them the various places and so forth. And he was absolutely brilliant. He knew how to do everything. He knew how to contact people, who to contact. He had all his contacts right. And he was brilliant. Thanks, Tony. Eddie, can you help me out here? What comes next?
Sorry,
Sure.
It might sound very cheeky now that I'm standing up saying a few words since it wasn't on the agenda, but I suppose I have the excuse that I'll be chairing the proceedings tomorrow. Now, the first thing I'd like to do is to add my congratulations to the people who got their fellowship this evening. Now, 3 of them, because as Declan said, I'm one of the elder people of the society. 3 of them I know quite well, and I'd just like to say a few words about the 3 people that I do know. Now, first of all, Tim. Tim and myself and Declan and Wendy Quirk and a few more were all there on the first night that the Cork Genealogical Society were set up, and it's nice to see that we're all here again tonight. Now, what I'd like to say about Tim is I knew Tim long before the society started up. He was the person in the county library who was kind of absolutely knowledgeable about the history of Cork, the genealogy of Cork, and the geography of Cork. And obviously that it is kind of a huge talent and a huge achievement, but one of the things that I always admired about Tim was that whether you were the county manager going into the library looking for information, or a 10-year-old primary school pupil doing a project for your teacher, you got exactly the same treatment from Tim. Now, I'm sure people who did call into Tim when he was in the library will remember that he'd be you'd ask him the question about something, he'd jump up, he'd know the various little alcoves and cubbies in the library where the books would be, the cuttings would be, the journals would be, and nothing was too much trouble from Tim. And that's what I admire most about him, and I think he deserves a special round of applause for that. I can't say I know Richard Henson very well, except by reputation. No, I did a genealogy course, a night course in UCC, and anytime or when we come to the section of the graveyards, it's all Richard Henson. And I met him a few times, I had a couple of conversations with him a long time ago, but I remember everything he said, because it was based on just incredible experience. That he's been to every graveyard in Cork, he's written extensively about them. In his writings on the graveyard, not only would he have the inscriptions accurately reproduced, he'd also have additional biographical notes and about some of the people in the cemeteries. And a very interesting point that he makes as well is he's familiar with the stonework of different cutters, the style of the work that they did, and he's able to comment on that. Now, he's just an absolute mine of information on that whole area. Now, one of the things I specifically mentioned that I thought showed kind of great insight is that he said to me once that there is a connection between genealogy and geology. That, you know, we have the red and white in Cork, two different types of rock that run through it, and depending on whether your ancestor lived in a limestone or a sandstone area, he may or may not have a gravestone. One of the stones will take lettering, another won't. I'm afraid I've forgotten which was which, but I can ask Richard afterwards. So the next time I use that, I'll be accurate. Now, for that kind of work, you know, in cemeteries and recording the information, it's just unbelievable. And I remember he said to me once, I thought this was interesting, I often mention this at the lectures that I give as well, that people would ring him up and to get information about gravestone inscription, and he'd be out, his wife would answer the phone, and she'd say, well, you know, he's out at the moment, you know, in the graveyard somewhere, and he'd be back at about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever, and you can ring him then, he'd be there at that time. And when he'd come back, in 90% of the cases, he'd get no phone call. Simply because genealogy is only a whim for some people. It's a kind of, oh, I'd love to know that. Oh, he's not there, sure, forget about it. So, now, when people ask me, as they always do at the lectures, for his contact details, I usually say, well, see, I don't know whether he wants phone calls or not. No, apparently he's willing to take them from what he said tonight. But what I say is, look, the best thing you could do is do a little bit of research yourself and find out his phone number. And then when you ring him up and he's not there, you'll probably try it again. Now, certainly, I think Dick Henson deserves another round of applause for this tremendous work. I'd just like to say a few words about Robord O'Dwyer. Now, Robord is from the same part of the country as my mother, and the Beara Peninsula. He's from Iries, and that's how I came into contact with him first. When I started taking an interest in my own genealogy, I encountered some of the publications of Robord. Now, Robord, I'd say, is a unique genealogist in that he researched the genealogies of everybody on the Beara Peninsula. Now, it's not an island, but it's kind of an isolated area, and he was able to access, we'd say, the civil records, the church records, estate records, but more importantly, the people, and get information firsthand from the people. Now, Robord also had a very kind of interesting way of getting information of the people. He's a great accordion player, and he takes his accordion with him to various parts of the peninsula, and he'd play it, and the people would come in, and they might get to interrogate them afterwards. And another interesting thing about Reward, and you can see, you know, how fine and fit and slim he is still. He was the hop, skip and jump champion of Ireland for 7 years running. Or is it 7 or is it more, Reward?
7.
7 years running. And now, as I said, my mother's from the Berry Peninsula, and you know, it's a place that I really like. And I've been in Reward South once or twice. And the last time I was there, Reward took out the accordion, played a tune, and I was sitting down listening to him, and he said, well, do you want to dance? No, Reward thought I'd dance a jig in front of him. No, but you know, as a city person and being very repressed, I'd as soon jump out his top window than make an effort at doing a dance or singing in public. No, certainly, as I said, we have 3 unique genealogists here. Reward deserves a round of applause before I move on. We have 3 people who did just absolutely remarkable work for genealogy, and their work will certainly remain after them. And you know, we should all. I'm certainly grateful to the 3 of them for leaving such a legacy to Cork family history enthusiasts. Now, I don't know the other 2, and you know, I wasn't going to kind of do the research on them for the simple reason that I just get it wrong. But I know the 3 of those, and well they deserve the award that they got tonight. Now, Declan was talking about the actual certificate. Ed Wallace asked me to draw up a certificate, so I was thinking about it. And now, you know, if you put in information about each of the people who's been given the award, you're going to leave out something that's important to them. So I thought the best thing to do was just to put in some symbols that conveyed what the society wanted to convey. I often notice that one of those double helix DNA strands is very like, in some ways, the intricate artwork that you'll find in the old Irish manuscripts, the so-called illuminated manuscripts. You have a lot of that kind of artwork there. And so I actually got a strand, a depiction of a strand of DNA that happened to be in the green, white and orange of Ireland. So that's the outer band. Now, what it's meant to convey is the modern genealogy. You know, everybody now is thinking in terms of the contribution DNA will make the genealogical research. So it kind of conveys the future of genealogy, the DNA. Now, secondly, it harks back to a time when the monks in the monasteries recorded, you know, the mythology about the origins of the Irish people, and they recorded ancient genealogies, and that kind of has been preserved by those. So, you know, it's kind of looking back and it's looking forward. Now, there's an inner kind of a frame as well, and on the frame is in red, and there's some Om symbols, lettering on the frame as well. Now, the 3 letters there are CGS, Cork Genealogical Society. Now, it's white and red for Cork. Now, with the Om is important as well, because, you know, altogether there are about 400 Om stones, most in the south of Ireland, but you'll find them as well in, you'll find them also in, I think, parts of Britain also. Now, the Om was used mostly for recording either tribal names or personal names. Now, it's associated with the 5th to the 7th century. So during that time, we know very little about what happened during that time, apart from the fact that there was great interest in recording names. So they're our earliest genealogists. So the effort that was made was to associate people who were getting fellowship of the society with Cork, with Ireland, with genealogy, going back to the scribes and going back to the people who inscribed stones in the centuries gone by. So I'd just like to congratulate everybody who got the certificate, and they certainly deserve it. So thank you.
Just a small ad. I think Tony is still doing the courses in university, so if anybody wants to do a course, get in touch.
Thank you very much. They said everything that I was going to say now, so I won't have to repeat it. Before we finish up, for this section of it, there's tea and coffee outside and sandwiches at 8:30. It's 8:30, the bang on is outside. Now, just before we do that, I'd like to welcome some people. We have the Allens, who come all the way from Canada. They're here with their green caps. Very welcome. And the discs on the table were supplied by those, the genealogy music, they call it. We put it on in a minute and Robert might jump around and show us how to do it. Also, we have Richard Hayes Phillips from the USA, who wrote or has recorded Witness to a Crime, right?
That's one of my books.
One of his books, and he gave us a talk last Tuesday night, and it was very, very enlightening. It was lovely. People had tears in their eyes from it. His ancestor, I don't know how many grades back, was a slave, and he might give us a few words later on if people are interested. He's sitting there if anybody wants to talk to him. He will be here tomorrow also at the stand. Now, we also have Pastor David Roy from the Church of the Latter-day Saints, and without them we would be lost, because they give us their premises, they don't charge us. Wendy opens it and Bill closes it. If we could get rid of Bill, we'd be grand. He'd close us open. Anyway, he's a great singer, so we get a song from him later on. But listen, I can say these things because I'm from the north side as well. Now, we have the O'Briens, am I right? From Australia. They were a bit late coming in now, so I've got it in the back here. You're very welcome. Anyway, Pastor David Roy, we'd like to thank the Church of the Latter-day Saints for all the facilities they give us. We also have Rosaline Underwood, who is a professional genealogist. She specialises in Cork records and things like that. She's from Cork as well, I think. And Rosaline is here, and she will be here tomorrow, or if you can catch her tonight, and if you're stuck for something, she would be one of the people to ask. She would be very good, as well as all the others around there. And Anne-Marie Coughlin also works as a professional genealogist. Now, there's youngsters there, and we're delighted to see them. They may remember this later on, and remember the time that their dad, Richard, they're the youngest. They're your youngest, are they? His grandchildren. I'd like to welcome the people from Ireland as well. Allies is a long journey up to be coming up, and what I would like to do is, once you have your cup of tea, if you come back up, we get proper photographs with the curtains in the background, making the presentation again, so that we can give you a nice photograph. And then if you want family photographs, we do that, and we can send them out to you later on. Am I forgetting anybody? Oh yeah. One of the big benefits of getting this tonight, you have lifetime membership of the Cork Genealogical Society. So, Declan described the pins or the badges, the logo. What's his name? Eva Neff designed this 20 years ago nearly, and we incorporated it into everything, into our literature. Tomorrow everybody gets a pack when they come to the conference, and you'll see the literature we have made out of it. And we also have a pin that we're going to give as a special memento of the day. The ones that she got were etched, inscribed, or whatever. They're made by Dan O'Malley, a silver engraver in Oliver Plunkett Street. It's the same as Declan's, you can see it there, as he said, without the president. So they're just a nice little memento. There wouldn't be huge value except that there's a nice something to have to pass on to your family. And if you ever decide to come to a meeting, you can wear it. Or if you find any other occasion that you might like to wear it, you're certainly welcome. So will we have a break from the speeches, and you can have a cup of tea and coffee, and we come back and then now if people want to, and we'll have a bit of music. Am I forgetting anything? Yeah, we'll take photographs whenever you want. If you come up here with whoever you want in the photograph, and we'll get. We'd also like to welcome the President's wife, First Lady. She's always giving up to me anytime I'm out there. She's always saying, you know what they say, beside, behind every good man, there's a good lady, so there she's there, so welcome. We also have Jim Herlihy, who's going to be speaking tomorrow, and we have Jane Halloran Ryan from Ireland Reaching Out, who's going to be speaking tomorrow. John Grenham doesn't seem to be here yet. Katrina Crowe will be here tomorrow. Damien Shields and John Tierney. And it's not the John Tierney from Irish Water. There's a different John Tierney, so you may be interested in that. So look, we'll have a cup of tea or coffee there, whatever you want, and we can come back in again. Okay? Thank you.
Everybody loves their hometown, whether Dublin, London or New York. But the place that's home to me is my city by the Lee. It's my own beloved Cork. Sweet Cork, I love you in the springtime, winter, summer, fall. Although I'm far away, I'll return again someday to the friends I love, one and all. I've traveled this wide world all over, and the 7 wonders I have seen. But for me there must be 8 when I pass North and South Gate, you twin sisters flowing to the sea. Sweet Cork, I love you in the springtime, winter, summer, fall. Although I'm far away, I'll return again someday to the friends I love, one and all. I love your winding streets and steeples that surround my river Lee. In my city you will find people friendly, warm and kind, happy folk that you would like to meet. Sweet Cork, I love you in the springtime, winter, summer, fall. Although I'm far away, I'll return again someday to the friends I love one and all. Sweet Cork, I love you in the springtime, winter, summer, fall. Although I'm far away, I'll return again someday to the friends I love one and all. And it's then I love you most of all. winter, summer, fall. Although I'm far away, I'll return again someday to the friends I love, one and all. I love your winding streets and steeples that surround my river Lee. In my city you will find people friendly, warm and kind, happy folk that you would like to meet. Sweet Cork, I love you in the springtime, winter, summer, fall. Although I'm far away, I'll return again someday to the friends I love, one and all. Sweet Cork, I love you in the springtime, winter, summer, fall. Although I'm far away, I'll return again someday to the friends I love, one and all. And it's then I love you most of all.